Okay, to all those people who are watching out there on YouTube, this is Tara. Welcome back and welcome to my preview of the Forged in the Barrens release for Hearthstone. So, in a previous video, I covered a lot of the core set changes that you can see here. And I'm going to go over this. There's two key things that are coming with the core set changes. Number one is that the overall power level of the core set has drastically gone up. I've used Hearth Arena as an example before there, but overall, these cards have like the cards that you see here are significantly more powerful than the cards that we would see before. So what this means, because the core set, because the classic set, the basic set, they make up such a large part of the arena, is that the average card that you're going to draft is going to be significantly stronger than it was before. And furthermore, what this means is that things like anything that generates RNG, anything that discovers, anything like shaman evolve mechanics or summon a random minion, all those effects are in addition going to become a lot stronger. So with this means like the average power level of the set has increased. So what you would expect from a normal card has increased. So I went over it before, but the basic thing you need to know here is that the 2 mana 2/3, which previously this was considered kind of like the backbone of your deck, this is now the worst card you want in your deck. You do not want a card that is worse than this. Realistically, the kind of cards that you want as an average card in your deck is probably something like a Lone Champion. I mean, this is a card that on Hearth Arena it would be like a mid 70s. And this is the card you want to be as like the 15th most powerful card in your deck. So you want a lot of cards that are more powerful than this. So what's going to happen is that because of the key changes to the core set, the overall power level is going to increase for the set. The overall power level of what you're going to draft is going to increase. That's just like a quick overview there. So, in regards to Forge and the Barrens, there's been a lot of talk about Forge and the Barrens, and there's been a lot of talk about the power level of the cards. And I agree to an extent, but it's only really in the neutral cards. The class cards, like there's very few class cards, that non-legendary class cards, where I would say that they are way too strong. Like for the most part, outside the mage, warrior, and shaman, those three classes all have cards which are minions that have an AOE attached to them. So those classes, like those are the best cards in the set. I mean, if you go back and you look at class cards in previous sets, well, let's go here. Like, for example, if we go Madness at the Dark Moon Fair and we go to, let's say, Demon Hunter. Hey, you know what you got here? You got Expendable Performers, one of the best cards ever printed in the game. Like, not even a joke there. So you got cards like that. You've got Unnerfed Dreadlord's Blade. Oh, hey, you know what? Let's go to Paladin. What did Paladin get? Oh, Paladin got like a completely broken hammer in Madness at the Dark Moon Fair. Like you could go to other classes and you can see cards. Did Shaman get anything? I don't think Shaman got anything. Oh, Shaman, whack a no hammer. Like something completely broken like that. Uh, Here, Dunk Tank, which not the most powerful card, but it's definitely one of like the most swingiest cards and one of the hardest cards to really play around. And so you can go down and you can see all these cards that are easy, very easy, 100 plus cards. I don't think Priest got anything like that. Mm, like Hysteria is fine. Like Gahoon is like a really powerful card. I don't think it's like 100 power level, but it's like really, really strong. But anyway, you can go back and you can like I'm just taking a look, see if there's anything I forgot from here. But you can look back and these cards that the other classes got in the previous sets, they were completely busted. They were cards that were just super strong for their effect. And you really don't get that in Forged in the Barrens. As I mentioned, what you get things like where's the mage card? You you get things like this, a 4 mana 3/5 that basically AoEs everything and it can be upgraded, and like that's really strong. You get the warrior version of that. Like you get the warrior version of that with the whirling combatant. You get the axe here, which is probably like the best weapon of the whole thing. But overall, like the class cards are actually pretty tame compared to previous sets. And the problem is that the neutral cards, it's kind of like I want to say almost a return to form, and that the neutral cards are just completely busted. Like we got Hog Rancher here. This is kind of like a 3 mana version of like this is like an SI7 agent without needing the combo. I mean, look here. Huggy. Oh, no. You can't see the hog very clearly there, but I mean that thing that is going to be the doom of everyone there. The hog. Okay, we got things like Venomous Scorpion. This is like a primordial explorer, which is it's a neutral primordial explorer, which is like one of the best hunter cards printed in a long time. All right, so the neutrals here, like here, and that sorry, this guy is probably not even the best neutral. That's probably not it. This guy probably is just maybe not in terms of like average power level, but in terms of just like winning games that you have no business winning just because this came down on turn 3 and this provided so many stats on turn 3 that you just won the game off of that. So, overall, the neutrals are the things to worry about in a sense in Forge and the Barrens. The class cards, there are a lot of things that you build for decks. Like they're constructed cards, but they're not really independently good arena cards. So I think it is a really powerful set, but I don't think the set is as powerful as a lot of people are making them out to be. So with this set, they also introduce a new keyword, and that keyword is Frenzy. So give you an example here of another really, really powerful card. So the Sunwell Initiate here. Frenzy, gain Divine Shield. So it's 3 mana, 3/4. Frenzy mechanic, if you survive damage, this triggers. So if you hit this with 3 damage or less, or if it gets hit for 3 damage or less, then this effect will trigger where it will gain Divine Shield. Some of you may know a solid 3 mana 3/1 card, Scarlet Crusader, that has Divine Shield. So this is a Scarlet Crusader, and if you cannot deal, so if you cannot, sorry, let me rephrase this. If you cannot deal 4 damage immediately to it, then it will hit something. It will then gain Divine Shield, and it is entirely possible that after Divine Shield, it will be even after that, it will still be a stronger Scarlet Crusader. So, like the Sunwell Initiate, when it works, is going to be super powerful. Like I would argue in the late game, it might be a little bit worse than the Scarlet Crusader, but in the early game, it's going to completely ruin the game for a lot of people. For like, if you try to play 2/3s into this, you're just going to be massively behind. And this functions here because another thing here is like when we take a look at the neutrals. Okay, let me sort this by cost. Sort by. Is it the strength is in the neutrals, and the neutrals they really aren't. They're really low cost. Like Primordial Protector, this is a really good card, but that's like the one big card of the expansion. Uh, Taraho Brave here. So like that's a 6 mana card. Like that's the only 6 mana card here. And then everything else is like 5 and less. And that's a stark difference from the previous sets. That's a stark difference from something like a Smug Senior, or a Claw Machine, or a Plagued Proto Drake, or a Bone Chewer Vanguard. Cards like that are big cards that anchor the end game of your deck. We already have enough of those cards, and now what we got is we've got a bunch of solid to much more above average cards that we are going to have in the early game. So the net result of this is that ultimately, and this is my prediction for just like the in general meta, a card like this, a 3/2, is not a card you want to draft. As I said before, due to the changes in the core set and the average power level of your deck has gone up, so that this is I'm not going to say bad card, but it's a below average card. It's like borderline bad card right now. And for the most part, like two drops like that two drops that do nothing, like deal 3 damage to an enemy hero, is really not all that much. So these just don't really impact the game anymore. You've got enough 3 mana cards. Like if we can go over to HS replay, I have it set up here. So if we go neutral and 3 mana, okay, we can see some premium cards here. Okay, we got Educated Elec. We got a 3/4. Frozen Shadow Weaver, 4/3 with an effect. 3/2 Divine Shield. 3/6 Taunt. Doesn't count, doesn't count, doesn't count. Let's see, what else have we got here? We got a lot of stuff. Here, 3/4. King Watcher, that's not going to be in there. Try and find other things. Here, 4/3 Taunt. Venomous Scorpion is going to be strong. Here, 4/3. So you can see there are a lot. Basilisk is in 1/1 Divine Shield. Spider Tank 3/4. Uh, Raid Leader got buffed to 2/3. Doesn't really matter. Here 3. Lone Champion 2/4 Divine Shield. So we have got a lot of really 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 powerful 3 drops that just kind of directly counter any 2 drops you're going to play. So what I'm saying is ultimately I think people, if you're smart, you're not going to be picking 2 drops because unless they're like really powerful, because they're just going to get eaten up. They're not going to do anything. And if you're losing a card just to like damage a 3 drop, like that's not useful. If you've got enough swing cards that you can come back later in the game, that's a lot more use. So if you got enough swing cards, you don't really need the early game unless it's something like a Farwatch Post where the early game can kind of screw up your opponent if it lives. Or I made a post on Arena HS, but the Caravan cards, where if they stick around, they're going to be really powerful. So I think, and ultimately, another key thing here with the core set is that a lot of classes lost ways to go face. They lost face damage from hand. Warrior, Druid, Hunter. Those were classes where Shaman as well with the loss of Flame Tongue and Bloodlust. Those were classes. Mage with Pyroblast. They lost abilities to generate a ton of damage from hand to like more than just the minion damage on board in order to go face. And so because there's a lot less face damage, a lot of that early game incremental damage is much less important to me. And so what's more important is the mid game swings. It's about having more value in the late game. It's about stalling out your opponent and winning the resource race. So ultimately, and this is my meta prediction getting around to it, is that it's going to be a slow meta and it's going to be a meta where you don't want 2 drops. Like your curve is there are twos exist, but you don't want to take them. You want your curve to start on 3. You want big minions. You don't want frenzy effects like this to go off. You want like 4/3s or things with 4 attack to be able to handle that. Or if you take early game, it's basically because you need stuff to ping things like this off. So that's ultimately my meta prediction: is that the cards are going to get a lot worse. Is that the curve is going to get a lot bigger, and it's going to be a lot slower. All right. So and one more thing before I go into the next one, I need to specify that when I'm talking about the new sets, so I base my scores off the Hearth Arena tier list. In the spreadsheet that I always link for these, the scores are based off the listed Hearth Arena tier list. So Hearth Arena has already indicated that they're going to do some sort of changes to the tier list in one way or another. So because of that, these scores they have are kind of like not really accurate anymore. So if I pull up here Hearth Arena, if I go to tier lists, just pull that up quickly here. So you can see like this is the current. So you can see like here, the below average stuff is like all the way over here, right? So most of this, a lot of this is going to go away. And average is going to probably be the new below average. And like the majority of the cards are going to be over here in this range here. So because of that, for the star system, I need to specify like what a star level card is going to be, because as I said, In my whatchamacallit, in my spreadsheet, in my document, I specified, okay, this is about what this number equates to in terms of power level. So if I'm going to talk about cards, so if I were to say a 1-star card, a 1-star card now, that's 2 drop. That's like a generic 2. That's 3-2, or that's a 2-3. That doesn't really do that much. Here, let me go over here. All right. So 1-star card would be like River Croc, Burlock, Tidehunter, things like that. 2-star card. Those are things that kind of like begin to do things like Red Gill, Red Jaw, and that's also like 3-4s here, or 3-4s on 3, or 4-5s on 5. That is basically a 2-star card. 3-star card. These are 2-star card, like these are cards that have bonus effects that are attached to them. So like Dark Iron Dwarf is a 3-star card. Uh, Defender of Argus, 3-star card. Grim Necromancer is about 3 stars. Basilisk is like a high 3-star card here. Lone Champion is a 3-star card. So this is the range, and this is the average power level of your deck. Remember, these are the cards that are going to be like, if you have a bunch of these, then your deck is average. So 4-star cards, these are cards that begin to get like real powerful. These are the cards that begin to swing the cards. And generally, the core set does not have that many of these. And now you start to have to take a look at the other sets. So an example of a 4-star card would be like if we go to, oh, sorry, wrong set. I'll go over here because I want to keep the core set for reference later. So if we go Ashes of Outland. So let's see here. Ashes of Outland, what do we have here? So Rusted Raider is a 4-star card. Scavenging Shavar is a 4-star card. Dragonmoth Skystalker, 4-star card. Bone Chewer Vanguard, 4-star card. So this is about where the 4-star card range is. Like 5-star cards, these are cards that have a massive, massive impact on the game. So these are like the 90 plus cards here. So you can see, just like taking a look here, Smug Senior is right at that range here. Let me get on neutrals here, making it clear. Like Claw Machine, Scorpid, Smug Senior. These are cards like, let me see. Let me go wrong one here. Where's Claw Machine 6? So here, Claw Machine. This is a 5-star card right now. It's a minion. It has a strong removal attached, and it has a bonus effect attached on top of all that. That's like a 5-star card. 6-star cards, these are cards that, so 5-star card, this is kind of like where things begin to get a little bit too strong. Claw Machine, 5-star card. Carnival Clown, 5-star card. 6-star cards are like cards that just like completely define a class. So if we go over here to core set, we go to Paladin. So a good example of a 6-star card here is going to be something like a True Silver. Because True Silver, this is a card that's just like, it's better than pretty much anything you can get, and it's just going to be insane. Like True Silvers are always great cards. Let me see here. Like Aldor Peacekeeper, 6-star card. Let me just go over here for reference. Like we get a Paladin, we see like 100 level cards. Libram Majestus, that's 100. That's like a 6-star. True Silver is like a 6-star. Aldor Peacekeeper is like a 6-star, and you got other cards like that. And then ultimately, 7-star cards. This is like the ultimate one, and I'm going to tell you, there are no 7-star cards in Forged in the Barrens, but 7-star cards are for cards that should never have been printed. Let me see, where is... So for example, if we go to Mean Streets of Gadget Sound, let's take a look. Let's try to find a card that never should have been printed. We go to Warlock. Well, okay, this is a good card. This is a good card. This is a good card. This is a real good card. This is a card that is back in the meta. That's probably the strongest arena card ever printed, and it's back. So when I say 7-star card, it's not going to happen for this set, but this is what a 7-star card is. This is a card that's just like it being in the game. The way I define it is it's a card that is so strong you cannot play around it. It is a card that is so strong that playing around it is a mistake. You let it happen. Like things like this. Things like Vilespine Slayer is an example of a 7-star card. Things like, oh, in Warrior. Warrior still has Troublemaker. Where, like, we go over back to Madness of Dark Moon Fair. We go to Warrior. Uh, sorry. No, that was Skullman. Oh, sorry, it was Skullman's. So here, Troublemaker. This is an example of a 7-star card. It's a card that's just so busted. There's like no way to actually deal with this card. There's no way to prepare to play around it. Like any efforts that you make to play around it are just like doing nothing. All right. So that's part one. That's kind of like my introduction. That's myself going over the set, previewing the set. When I come back, I'm going to go over the neutral cards after this. So I will see you then.